Hi people, it's Sarkivist here. I remember when I first started playing games on the PC, I really wasn't sure what to do when it came to setting up my graphics options. For a long time I would usually go for the general presets, but over time I realised that changing individual aspects would create the best balance between frame rate and visual fidelity. So in today's video I'm going to be outlining some graphical options that are found in most modern PC games. Enjoy. The higher you set your screen resolution, the sharper your picture will become. The upper limit here is determined by your TV or monitor. For example, a full HD screen can display 1920 by 1080 pixels, otherwise known as 1080p. Whether or not decreasing your resolution is a good idea typically depends on screen size and the distance you are viewing the screen from. If you have a small screen or you sit a fair distance from it, then lowering your resolution is a very effective way of increasing performance without losing too much clarity. However, if you have a large screen or you sit very close to it, then the image may appear blurry. Here you can see the difference between two resolutions that are often used on consoles, 1080p and 720p. Anti-aliasing is responsible for smoothing the edges of 3D models. With no anti-aliasing enabled, models will appear to have jagged edges, especially if they are in the background. However, when this option is enabled, the lines become smooth, which creates the effect of a far more cohesive environment. While this is quite a nice effect, it can have a very large impact on performance. Sometimes there is no obvious difference between medium settings and high settings, so it's good to be conservative if you can be. Anisotropic filtering allows textures to retain their clarity even when they are at an angle. Here you can see the road becomes blurry as it gets further away. By enabling anisotropic filtering, the road becomes sharper. Personally, I don't think the effect this creates is very significant. So if you want to gain a few extra frames, anisotropic filtering might be worth setting to low. Shaders, shadows and ambient occlusion all affect how the 3D environment is affected by dynamic light. As you can see in this game of StarCraft, the difference between having these options set to low and set to high is very significant indeed. Not only are the lighting effects extremely obvious visually, but they can also have a big impact on the frame rate. Personally, I find that medium settings, especially when we're talking about shadows, can be the best choice. When models have no shadows at all, it can look very bizarre. Textures are essentially the detail that occupies the surface area of a 3D model. If you look at Scorpion and Sub-Zero on low settings, you may notice their clothes look quite blurry and lacking in detail. However, when I change texture settings to high, the clothes become far more sharp and there is some extra detail also. I find that in most games having textures set to high doesn't have much of an impact on performance. I would recommend always setting textures to at least medium because the visual effect far outweighs the performance ramifications. These were just a few typical graphical options that are found in many PC games. As always people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.